handicap chase, of course. And over 4 miles on a furlong. Edmund, number 1, heads the weights at 6-1. Richard Johnson. 2 is Mertz Man, Andy Thornton, 11-2. Number 3, the novice, Narrow Water, Adrian Maguire, also 11-2. 7 Towers, number 4, winner here in 97, Peter Niven, blinkered today for the first time, 7-1. Number 5 is Hymn of Praise, Jimmy McCarthy, 14-1. Don't rule him out if he's tailed off with a circuit to go. Number 6, Lady of Gortmere and Glen Tormey, an 8-1 chance, the grey mare. 7, Campaign, Alan Dempsey for Mickey Hammond at 20-1. Number 8, Royal Tommy, Ben Hitchcott, was in at 8-1, I think it was, wasn't it? Number 9, Scott and Green is a 4-1 favourite. Number 10, Saxon Duke, Paul Flynn at 12-1. Number 11, Mr. Muddy Paws, Adrian Smith, was a 33-1 shot there. And number 12, right leader, Rupert Wackley, who was £2 out the handicap, also 33-1.
Headed now by Scott and Green on 5-2, Narrow Water on the drift, out to 6s, as is Mertz Man. Edmund out to 13-2. 7 Towers went out to 8s, they've taken that, so now back into 7-1. Lady of Gortmeren will stay all day on 8s, Royal Tommy and Saxon Duke on 12-1, and it's 14-1 bar those for this Tote Northern National.
Extraordinary price, isn't it? 5-2, Scott and Green. From 4-1 on the course, he's already won a prize. He won the best turned out. Let's see if he can make it a double. He sets off then towards the back of the pack as they go towards the first of 25 fences now in this. Oh, and Edmund was almost down there. Bad mistake, and just managed to recover his hind legs in time. Richard Johnson did very, very well. What a nasty mistake that was for Edmund. He's got a little bit of time to warm up before he tackles the ditch. 25 fences, we were saying, for the Tote Northern National handicap chase. They swing round towards us. Edmund is in front with Saxon Duke, the red colours, sheepskin noseband. Deep on the course then in the blue and yellow is Narrow Waters, the grey Lady of Gortmeren. Up on the outside is Mertz Man. Campaign put in a mighty leap there in the pale blue jacket. Royal Tommy with the headgear is behind him. And then as they go down towards the next is Riot Leader. Up towards the back of the field, Mr. Muddy Paws, Hymn of Praise, and Scotland Green with 7 Towers. Hymn of Praise just the overall back marker as they go towards the next fence, fence number 4 here. Another plain one. Narrow Waters over it in front of Saxon Duke as Campaign moves up into 3rd place. Now Edmund's moved right back through the field as Lady of Gortmeren moves past him as well. Mertz Man nearest to us. Narrow Waters brushed through that. Edmund made a mistake, and also Mr. Muddy Paws as well. Made a mistake there too. So Narrow Water then, the advantage is a half a length or a neck maybe from Mertz Man and the red jacket of Saxon Duke, with Campaign very keen in 4th place. He's the horse that's trying a new trip this afternoon. Behind this group is Edmund, who's yet to convince so far with his jumping, and Riot Leader, Royal Tommy next, followed by Scotland Green, 7 Towers, his old rival. Lady of Gortmeren is off the bit, not enjoying it. Mr. Muddy Paws out towards the back. And finally, Hymn of Praise. You'd expect him to be last, really, but he's still well in touch at this stage. As they head down the side of the course, missing this first plain fence, which would have been number 6, Narrow Water. Very well. But as Jim was saying, his problem is inexperience here. It's only his 5th start over fences. But he was the choice of Ferdy Murphy from an entry of 4 at the 5-day stage. Adrian Maguire brings him towards this 6th fence now. The Tote Northern National. Oh, Saxon Duke, a mistake. Brush through the top. He does tend to make the odd one. Now here's Edmund again, running a bit in snatches, trying to grab back 3rd place. But as they leave the side of the course behind them, it's Narrow Water from Saxon Duke. Mertz Man, the yellow, the one-man colours racing deep. Behind them is Campaign, the pale blue. Orange sleeves of Edmund, the dark colours of Riot Leader. There's Lady of Gortmeren, who's got hold of the bit again. Scotland Green still held up towards the back of the pack as they go over the 2nd fence down the side. Lady of Gortmeren, a mistake. Dived at that fence. Reminders for Mertz Man, and Scotland Green confirmed the 5-2 favourite. Narrow Water and Mertz Man at 6-1, 30-2 bar those 3. Well, the novice Narrow Water continuing to impress with his jumping as they took that open ditch. Number 9 is next, a plain one. Saxon Duke matching strides with him. And Hymn of Praise is just beginning to lose touch now. I'm just looking back to see, he's about 20 lengths off the pace. Mr. Muddy Paws and Lady of Gortmeren, the other 2 that appear to be labouring. as they go to the penultimate fence on the far side of the course. Fence number 10, Narrow Water. Measured it beautifully. Great jump there by the leader from Saxon Duke. With Campaign still handy, Mertz Man is next. Royal Tommy, the blue headgear, the near side, as they make their way, completing their first circuit towards fence number 11. Still Scotland Green out towards the back of the pack. Mistake there by Seven Towers. Wasn't that fluent at it, but he's still in touch with the main group. So they're settling down now, beginning to head round towards the home straight for the second time. Narrow Water and Royal Tommy now has come up his inner. Royal Tommy in the hands of the talented amateur Ben Hitchcock. These two together with 3 lengths back to Saxon Duke and Edmund in 4th. Campaign is 5, Mertz Man is 6. Scotland Green getting closer as they take the big open ditch, which leads them into the home straight. And then just looking back to see Hymn of Praise, who's passed Lady of Gort Merrin, who's really labouring, and Mr. Muddy Paws having a battle with the lady for last place. Down the walls and over the next. Narrow Water jumped it nicely again from Royal Tommy. Near side Saxon Duke and also Mertz Man. Campaign continue to travel very impressively in the race. The pale blue jacket, he brushed through the top of that, however. Mertz Man not all that fluent. Edmund again being driven and getting reminders, as is Seven Towers. I can see Peter Niven getting busy on the 12-year-old. This will be the last in a circuit's time. Narrow Water took it from Royal Tommy. 4 or 5 lengths back to Campaign, who's off the bridle all of a sudden. Saxon Duke is losing ground on them quite quickly as Scotland Green makes progress. There's a circuit to go, Jim. Who'll be your money on now?
Well, there's virtually not one horse in this field, Mike, that hasn't hit at least one fence. They were on a blazing gallop, and it really will be a slog in the closing stages. Scotland Green, until he was awkward at the first in the home straight, had jumped as sweet as a nut and travelled really well. So too young Narrow Water in front. Royal Tommy's much closer than he usually is, and Seven Towers, despite a couple of mistakes, is still in there. Likewise Campaign. I wouldn't like to call it. I really do think it's open.
Jim, well, I can tell you that Hymn of Praise is losing touch with Lady of Gort Merrin and Mr. Muddy Paws, almost certain to be pulled up, I would have thought, as they go down towards the 16th fence down this part of the track. Royal Tommy is off the bridle now to match strides with Narrow Water, with Campaign back on the bridle again. Scotland Green in the yellow and pale blue diamonds, a little bit much closer now. Mertz Man is behind them. Now Mertz Man, all down there. Campaign, a nasty fall, hampered Edmund. And as they race away towards the end of the side of the course, Mertz Man has been pulled up before that fence as well. So Narrow Water, they begin to get well strung out, is the leader. And also Mr. Muddy Paws has been pulled up too. So Narrow Water from Royal Tommy, Seven Towers now inching closer, kidding along from Peter Niven, and then Scotland Green. These four beginning to open up on the rest of the pack, who are now taking the fence, led by Edmund, who was most unimpressive at that brush through the top, and Saxon Duke likewise. Looking back to Hymn of Praise, who's still going strong at his own sort of pace as they race down the middle of the back of the straight. Then Narrow Water continuing to impress, but Seven Towers, who's giving away quite a lot of years here this afternoon. Scotland Green, last year's winner, continues to travel well. Narrow Water got in a bit tight at that. Royal Tommy appears to be struggling to hang on to them and is losing ground on them now as they took that 19th fence. Next one will be fence number 20, another plain one. Narrow Water from Seven Towers and Scotland Green. Been given a lovely ride so far by Tony Dobbin. These three very, very tight to call the leader there. Probably still Narrow Water though. They've got one more fence to take on this part of the course, which will be fence number 21 here out of the 25. And now stamina really coming into play. Narrow Water and Scotland Green from Seven Towers, who's off the bit and struggling 2 or 3 lengths back in third, but he'll stay on again. They've left Royal Tommy behind them. He's about 15 lengths behind, and then a huge gap then of 25 to Hymn of Praise, who continues to plug on and might have prospects of a place. They're swinging around towards the home run then with just the 4 fences to take. Pulled up Edmund before that penultimate fence down the back, by the way. And it's Narrow Water being stalked all the time by Scotland Green. There's a great duel in prospect here up the straight. This is the open ditch 4 from home, and again they were together. Seven Towers has run a game race but appears to be held back in third place. Then back in fourth is Royal Tommy and Hymn of Praise. These 5 the only survivors. Down towards the third from home, Narrow Water and Adrian Maguire, Scotland Green and Tony Dobbin. And how much has Adrian got left up his sleeve? Because he's now shaken up the novice as Scotland Green comes under pressure. 2 more fences to go here in the Tote Northern National. Narrow Water and Scotland Green. Scotland Green, here comes last year's hero, the well-backed favourite, being cheered home by a packed crowd here at Gosforth Park. 7 Towers is finding renewed resources and is staying on in third. Don't rule him out. 1 more fence to go. Scotland Green and Narrow Water, they're getting very, very tired in this bottomless ground, and now Narrow Water is shaken up and goes on by 3 to 4 lengths from Scotland Green. 7 Towers is finishing to effect and could even get second, but Narrow Water has won it. Very tight for second. Scotland Green may have just held on from 7 Towers. Running home fourth is Raw Tommy, and then back in 5 then is Hymn of Praise, and Lady of Gort Merrin will be the last one to complete. Only 6 finishers from a field of 12. What a lovely ride Adrian has given this 8-year-old novice, Narrow Water, who really did impress. He's won here from Scotland Green, and in third place 7 Towers. That's unofficial. There's actually a photo between 9 and 4 on the card there, so we'll see what happens. But a great run by the 2 stalwarts, but not good enough to hold off Narrow Water, who looks at improving. Young, confirmed by the judge moments ago, the 5-2 favourite. Narrow Water, though, a famous winner at 6-1, the 50th running of this famous race. And third home was number 4, 7 Towers. Very game at 7-1, and all 12